Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is late here in Alberta, but I just wanted to make a quick update video with regards to the development for Brewmasters Guild. I wanted to talk about the current game state and where it's currently at in terms of playtesting. There's been a lot of good, positive playtesting as of late since the most recent changes that I've made for the game. Um, so I just wanted to kind of dive into the game and show you guys what that's looking like. So I'm going to switch over to the tabletop simulator and I'll be sharing what I've got going so far. So here it is in tabletop simulator. So right now I have the main board that's currently updated. There's a few new things that have changed since the last iteration. There's a little bit more focus on all the worker placement spaces, as well as the upgrade tiles are significantly different. Same thing with the contract cards have been a little bit more reworked. There's also these new customer order cards that are going to be coming into play I think this is going to be more of a modular thing that can be put into the game depending on how the players want to play the game. But I'm going to go through each thing that I want to talk about. So first of all, let's look at the Pentagon here. So the game is still going to be played as a worker placement. You're going to be placing your workers within the inner Pentagon over here. And you're going to be taking one action. All your actions are just going to be determined by your worker placement. And that's your only action. There's no other thing that you can do. There's no free actions anymore. So the turns, they don't take as long compared to the previous iterations. The one thing that I did change as well was the upgrade tiles. So the upgrade tiles now give you a bonus action. So this is the only way to get a second thing that you can do during your turn. But for the most part, you're going to be placing your worker into one of these 5 spaces and taking that core action. So I'll quickly go over those. So starting with this one, which is simply buying brew cards, playing one brew card onto your board, and brewing as many cards or beers as possible during your turn, depending on how many resources you have stocked up before that action. So that just simply means you can buy as many of these cards that are face up, just paying the coin cost, and that goes to your hand. You do now have a hand limit of 7 cards between the brew cards and the resource cards, and you'll be playing one of those cards onto your board. And that's the whole action there. And then you spend the number of resources shown on the top left of the card, so the malt, the hops, and the water. Then you'll be producing exactly just 1 pack of beer and getting points and getting some quality tokens. Over here, you'll be spending your beers that you've then produced to complete some contract cards. So the contract cards are a little bit different. So basically, there's no longer any more kegs in the game. There used to be kegs in the game. Now there's just simply packs of beer in the game. So you'll see here, like for example, if we look at this card here, I know it looks kind of blurry for some reason, so I might need to update the PDF file there. But essentially, this just says that you need 3 packs of beer. The first choice for this contract are stouts. The second choice are going to be the American lagers. So that's just these top 2 symbols here on the top right corner. So first choice, you'll get you 6 points. Second choice will get you 3 points. You will earn 3 coins, and then you get a little bonus action on the top left. That's the whole thing about contract cards now, is that there's a first choice and a second choice. So there's always a way to get points. There's about 60 cards in the deck. There's 6 types of beer. I've basically created all the different combinations of first and second, and each card represents that in either having 3 packs of beer or 4 packs of beer. So those are contract cards, and then the little purple card here are these customer order cards. These come to your main player board at the beginning of your turn. So first you'll draw them, and you'll be placing them over here on the left hand side of the main player board. This will give you a different option to spend your beers. The contract cards will mainly have a lot more points compared to coins, and the customer order cards will mainly have more coins and less points. There's still going to be two types of beer that they would like to get. So for example, this one is going to be asking for an American lager or an IPA. You only need one pack of beer to fulfill this. You do still need to place your worker onto that action space to be able to fill as many orders as you can. In the preceding turns, you'll be moving this card down, drawing a new card here, and eventually you'll have 3 cards. And then on your 4th turn, if you still haven't filled this order, they're going to leave your tap room. And the current rule is when they leave your tap room and you don't fulfill that order, you're going to be losing the point value right here, which is 1 point. You would lose double that, so 2 points. Instead of gaining 1, you lose 2 points. I don't know if it's going to stay like that, but as of right now, that's the way it's going to be working. You're going to be placing them on the left hand side, and then if they leave your tap room without getting fulfilled, then you lose points. You can fulfill it with these 2 types of beer as listed on the card, and that will get you the victory points. If you don't give them one of these 2 types of beer, then you only get the coins. So those are the customer order cards. Here, this action here is with regards to all the different quality tracks. So that's changed on how that works now too. You still spend the quality tokens, which are the stars. So down on your player board, you're going to have a lot of cubes. So this is going to be the way you're going to be tracking your resources now. You're going to be tracking your malt, your hops, and your water. So you'll be spending them, gaining them as you play some resource cards, and then spending them as you're brewing some beer. When you spend those quality tokens, which are the stars, you can move any one of these cubes to improve the space or storage capacity of a resource, or the storage capacity of the beers that you can produce for one fermenter. So each fermenter can only hold 1 beer token, and once you produce them, once you improve them, you'll be moving that cube into any one of these tracks. So the cost of improving the track will be listed on the top side of the main player board here. So the first 2 spaces are going to be 1 star each. The next 2 are going to be 2 stars each. The last 2 are going to be 3 stars each. And each track, you'll be able to gain some points based on what you've improved. So for instance, the hops track would then get you 3 points. Water track would get you 2. Income track would get 1. As you move up the income track, you're going to notice that there's 3 more workers here. You start with 3, but you can unlock 3 more to use during the game. Workers are essentially the number of actions you can take per round. So the more you have, the more actions you can take during that round. You can also spend those stars to unlock these income benefits, which are still on the fermenters, but now they're just mainly focused on the 4 different resources. So coins, malt, hops, and water. They all just cost 2 stars each to remove. And during the rest action, that's when all these purple actions will be triggered. Over here, we've got the resource drafting and placing a resource card onto your board. So once again, you can buy any number of cards that'll go to your hand. And then once you have it in your hand, then you can play that card onto your board, which is still the top 3 here, being played from the right and then moving on to the left as more cards are played. So just for instance, you would play it like that, and then the fourth card, once the fourth card gets played, this last card on the leftmost side will get discarded. You'll take the discard effect, which is on the top right of the card. You'll flip it over, and that'll be placed in one of these spaces. And then you get that one-time benefit that you cover. As you play these cards, you'll get more resources. So for instance, if I were just to play this water card, you would just get the one water. But if you have tracks bumped, you would get one water, one hop, and a second water over here. As you play another card, let's say I play this card here, then I would get a total of 3 hops, so 1, 2, and 3 from the track, and I would get 2 water. If I play the third card over here, then I would get 2 malt, 3 hops, 2 water. So that's how the resource engine kind of ramps up as the game goes along. Lastly, we have the upgrade action, which is going to be buying one of these upgrade tiles, and you'll also have the option of spending a star to tuck one of the resource cards. So as the resource cards get removed, those top half benefits will get removed from the game. But if you decide to tuck the card, you'll be able to place it like this, and you'll be able to then have that benefit for the rest of the game. This doesn't mean you block out this card slot. You can still place another card there to be able to activate the resources that you need. So it's just another form of resource building and engine building. So that seems like a lot, and there has been a lot of changes. In addition, once you place your upgrade tiles, which are still going to be here, you'll notice that there's 4 cubes on where the tiles go. These cubes will just be a reminder cube. Every round you can use one of these things as an activation. So for instance, I can, during my turn, before playing my worker, I can spend 1 quality token to draw the top 3 cards of the deck and keep one of them for free. If you flip it over, it'll explain exactly that. So spend 1 quality token to draw the top 3 brew cards, then keep 1 and play 1 from your hand. So that it acts as an extra action on top of your main worker action, which is going to be placing your worker, let's say here. Let's say you placed it here for resources. Then you got some additional brew cards to then be able to play that down here. Another thing that is brand new are these affinity tiles. So instead of binding each brewmaster with a specific type of beer, each tile will be different now. You can have up to 3 different favorites. This will make it a lot easier to kind of pivot your strategy and kind of open up the board in terms of, you know, your ability to score more points with the contracts, score some end game points, as long as you have these 3 different types of beer into your brewery. So this one focuses on American Lager, Pilsners, and IPAs. The Brewmaster still works pretty much the same way. It has a specific power, and you use it once every round, and it gets reset at the end of the round when you take a rest action. This is just the new round track marker, which when you rest and you're done for the round, you go into these spaces. So it just helps you count the 4 different rounds, and then once you get to the very end point, that's when you just score your end game points. As you cross the line between rounds 2 and rounds 3, you'll be clearing the contract board. So that's the only way that gets reset. These no longer get reset during the game. Each player can decide to reset it by spending the 5 coins. And also at the end of each round 2, round 3, and round 4, you'll be paying your workers compensation. So depending on how many workers you've unlocked for at the end of round 2, you'll be paying each worker 2 coins each. If you don't have enough sufficient funds to pay for your workers, then you'll be losing the coin value as points. So you have to be careful about hiring too many workers on the income track. But if you have enough money and you have enough of an engine, then you can certainly have 6 workers and have to pay them for each by the end of the game. So those are the lots of different changes that have occurred, but overall it has improved the actions of the game, and as well as the bumping mechanic. So the bumping mechanic is still going to be the same thing. So you're going to be placing your worker in the inner pentagon and then bumping out that worker that was previously there. If there was another worker here, then they would also get bumped out. It's always moving within the corresponding section of the pentagon, going outward. And then each player, once there's no more bumps and there's only one worker each in every section of the pentagon, then each player can decide whether or not they're going to take that action or spend the coins to move around the board. The rectangle spaces are still a space where the worker can get bumped. However, there can be there can be multiple workers in the rectangles, and that's the last space on the pentagon. That's pretty much the key changes that I've made. I'm hoping to now move on to getting more of the art developed. So I'm going to be meeting with an artist pretty soon, and we're going to be talking about the art direction for the game. Right now, there's a lot of art that's just placeholders. So all the beers are the same. They all look the same, but they're all going to be different in the actual game. The backs of the cards this is just a stock photo. So those are the things that I'm going to be looking at. And then in terms of the graphic design, I think I'm just going to stick to doing what I'm currently having right now. Maybe just refining it a little bit more, making the colors a lot better. Because I've received some feedback with regards to color blindness. So I need to take that into account and make sure that is very clear for those people that are going to be playing this game and approaching this game despite having that. Those are pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this update. If you guys have any questions, please reach out in the comments below. And I hope to see you guys in the next update. Thanks for watching.